Hey everyone, Brendan Sander here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to a special review for the brand new Bruce Springsteen album, Lost and Found. Came out on June 27th of 2025 and it features a selections of songs from the massive 7 CD Lost Tracks 2 box set that features 7 unreleased albums. So those were recorded between 83 and 2018, and we've got 20 tracks appearing on this. I'm going to do a full review and unboxing of it here in just a moment. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on really cool things like this, where we're talking about the brand new Bruce Springsteen album, Lost and Found. Yes, I know it's a compilation, but all the songs are unreleased, so new in the sense of new to my ears. That's how I'm thinking about it. That's how you guys should be thinking about it. So Bruce has always been very prolific, right? I don't think there's been any doubt about it. We've been hearing about his prolificness going way, way back. It's something he's talked about. It's something that we've known about. And going back to Darkness on the Edge of Town in 78, we know this spawned a lot of songs. And later when he would reissue that, we also got in 2010 The Promise, a double album of outtakes, archival material. When he did The River, the same sort of thing. And in 2015, when we got the deluxe edition box set, we also got an album worth of outtakes from that. In 1998, we got Tracks, the first one, and this was 4 CDs of unreleased material, 66 tracks at that time. There was a selections of from that one as well called 18 tracks. So if you don't have either of the box sets, you can certainly get selections discs, which is very cool. So there was that. They added 3 more unreleased songs to this one, not on the box. That was cool. I kind of wish they had done that, put 3 additional on here, not on the box, to make it totally worthwhile for having that, but they didn't do that this time. And another time that he released archival material was the Essential Collection in 2003, a 2 CD set that came with a 3rd bonus disc in here of unreleased material. And of course, now here we are with this massive 7 CD box set. That's the follow-up to the 1998 one, for which this album is a selections of having 20 tracks. So as I mentioned, this box set that's here, I have done a full review of this, and if you want to see that, I'm going to leave a link in the description to you. 83 tracks, 82 of them previously unreleased, 74 have never been heard in any way, shape, or form. 8 of those are alternate versions of songs that later made their way out. 1 is a soundtrack song. That is the only one that had been released, but this is the first time it's turning up on any Bruce Springsteen release. So 83 to 2018, 35 years worth of music contained in this box. But we want to talk about the selections and whether or not this as an album stands on its own or not. So I'm going to start off and talk to you about the way that this breaks down, and I'll use the albums inside the box to do that. So LA Garage Sessions 83, which was recorded in 83. It has 18 tracks on it and was recorded between Nebraska and Born in the USA. So you've got that as a time frame. 3 of the songs that are appearing on this, which come from here, Follow That Dream, an outstanding, excellent song to open with, and 7 Tears, another one that's really, really good. And then Unsatisfied Heart, they also pull. But the sound just shows that Bruce was in the middle between Nebraska mindset and the Born in the USA. He hadn't fully gone rock yet. And so that's what's kicking off this album, something that's in between. And they're home recordings, so they're not quite the quality of big studio, but they are still very well done and a good way to kick off the album. Okay, then the album itself moves into Streets of Philadelphia Sessions, which was recorded in 1994. 10 tracks on here, and this was a fully realized album due for release, but ultimately got shelved. He recorded this after Human Touch, Lucky Town, but before Ghost of Tom Jode. And so this one Three songs appear on the selections of, we've got Blind Spot, which is an absolutely outstanding song. And for this album here, he was using or exploring drum loops and the rhythmic sounds that he was hearing in modern music in the 90s. Something in the Well is another song, and Waiting on the End of the World is also included on here. But really good, or I should say this one here, really good. It's my favorite of all the albums that came out in the mega box set. So check out those three songs from here. I think they're really, really good. But now the album itself takes a turn as we move into Faithless from 2005, which has 11 tracks on it. And this one was recorded between Devils and Dust and We Shall Overcome, the Pete Seeger sessions. So two songs from this one appear on here. We have Faithless, the title track, which was released as a single. It's a very good song, and God Send You. So the album itself, interestingly, was written for a movie that was started in 2004, but has never seen the light of day. It's never been completed. So Bruce has decided to release what would have been a soundtrack album as now a standalone album. So 21 years on from the start of that, those songs are making an appearance not only in the box set, but here on this. And when you go from the sort of three rock songs at the beginning into the drum loop songs that are the next three, and then you go to a more atmospheric environment, or, I was gonna say environmental, but not really. Atmospheric is really the right term for it, but almost orchestrated sounding album. It's really kind of jarring, and that's what I'm starting to pick up as I'm listening to this album. It's kind of very distinct because the organization of this follows the box set, but it doesn't necessarily follow it chronologically, which is what we're going to find on the next one that's here, which is, for this one, Somewhere North of Nashville from 95, so we're jumping back now. But as opposed to it going back to, say, rock or the drum loop sound, he recorded this one during the Ghost of Tom Jode sessions. I'm looking for it here next to me, right? So the folk rock sound of that, this one here instead is a mix between country and rockabilly. So he didn't record an album like Ghost of Tom Jode that was this one here. This was something different, but recorded at the same time. Two songs from this appear on the Lost and Found album, Repo Man and Detail Man. Actually three. When You're Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone, but that one actually comes from a 2010 session later on that's tacked onto this one here, just like the title track, North of Nashville, does not appear on this, but it came from a later session. So as I said, you're moving now to country and rockabilly on this one. And then staying in that same 95, 96 era around the Ghost of Tom Jode is the next album and selection of songs, Inyo, 96, 97. 10 songs here, recorded between Ghost of Tom Jode and The Rising. So when he had completed Ghost of Tom Jode, he thought he would follow it up with this album here. Wrote in a very similar style. So we're getting the Lost Charo, Lost Cowboy, Inyo, and Adelita. So Mexican style flair music mixed with folk rock sounds of Ghost of Tom Jode. So very much of that vein, but it goes to show you that between country rockabilly, Mexican sounding style, the folk rock of this, and if I can find it here, wherever I put this other 90s era album, the 90s era for Bruce Springsteen, he was all over the place. And really that is what we're starting to notice on this, because as we move through this album here, it is just jumping around in styles. And I kind of think that the album ultimately would have been better off had they not done it chronologically in terms of the release of the box set, and instead just done it by feel. we might have gotten a better, more interesting peaks and valleys style album, but we kind of go off into these different territories or musical styles for a period of time, which we really begin to do on this next one, which the next one it moves into is Twilight Hours, which was recorded over an 8-year period from 2010 to 2018 and recorded between the albums Working on a Dream and Western Stars. So very different style albums, and there were other albums released in the interim of that. But 3 songs from this album, Sunday Love, High Sierra, and Sunliner, appear on the Lost and Found album that we're talking about today. But this one here, very much a companion piece to Western Stars. Don't know where I've got my Western Stars album out. It's not sitting, there it is. I've got so much Bruce sitting around me in order to do this one and the box set review. It's been pretty crazy, but these two very much related to one another in tandem, even though there's a large period between it because this was started in 2010. The album ultimately developed into this here, and what all the tracks are that are here were shelved. But both of these are very much orchestrated country style music, but this one has a sort of 70s pop flair to it, like Burt Bacharach, Glenn Campbell, Jimmy Webb, artists that Bruce really enjoys. So much more of that style here. But if you didn't like the Western Stars album, you're gonna like this one. But again, when listening to the Lost and Found album, it's just jumping around in country, orchestration, soundtrack, you name it, it's all over the place. But as we begin to close out the Lost and Found album, we pick up songs from Perfect World, the 7th and final album in the box set. This one here is the outlier of those albums because it's not an album that was recorded as a standalone album. Instead, it's a collection of tracks put together just for the box set. So it spans 1994 to 2011. And you've got 3 songs from this one on the Lost and Found album. I'm Not Sleeping, Rain in the River, whoop, wrong one. Rain in the River appearing on here, and You Lifted Me Up. And Rain in the River was one of the first singles, or I think the first single that was released from the box set. It's a very hard rocking song. So Bruce was looking to finish the album on a high note, or the box set I should really say, but this one here in tune also finishes on a high note because of that. So we end up, after all those different styles of music, we come back around to a fun rock songs finishing out the album on that high note. And so that's where we end with this here. But let's take a quick look at this. That's the cover of it. Just like the ones that I was showing you from the box set, they all have their own art and everything. This is the inside. We get a booklet here, and we get a CD here. This one not in a sleeve. Some of the ones from the box set had sleeves in them, but let's look at the booklet itself. I really appreciate how each one of these things gets the individual art treatment. This one here really picking up a lot of images and things that are from the book that's in the box set too. Of course, we get all of the lyrical content. He doesn't go into what each of the songs were about or recorded from or anything like that the way that the book does from the box set. You just get the lyrics. So a little bit of a bummer. It does tell you where the songs come from, meaning the album and the time frame recorded, but it doesn't quite get into all the background, which would be really, I think, have been interesting for those people getting this. If you want all that great background, you're going to have to get this box set here for that. So bottom line, where does this album stand? Let me find it. Where does this one stand in terms of its overall feeling as an album? It's got the song selections from these 7 albums that make up the box set, and you have fully realized albums like Streets of Philadelphia from 1994. You've got other ones that were standalone bodies of work, like the LA Garage Sessions in '83 that led up to Born in the USA, Faithless in 2005, the movie soundtrack. And then you got albums that are intertwined with other ones, Somewhere North of Nashville and Inyo, which are wrapped up around Ghost of Tom Jode and Twilight Hours that's wrapped up with Western stars, and then the standalone album that's compiled just for this box set, Perfect World. And that's where the tracks are coming from on here. And so, as I said, that as you listen to this, you go through such distinct, jarring style changes that the album for me doesn't flow very well. But if you want a good sampling of the box set, or you just want to know more about Bruce Springsteen's stylistic arc and his career creatively and where things were and filling in the gaps between those albums that I talked about that these were recorded around, this is a really interesting compilation for that. But I do think they could have done a better job compiling this and sequencing it to work as a standalone album. And so while I don't think it works as a standalone album, I do think as a collection of songs, it's very interesting and exciting. And if you don't feel like shelling out the $275 for this right here, you can get this for about $14, $15 on Amazon, and I think you'll be very happy with it. But I would say if you are the diehard Springsteen fan, you are going to need this because the albums in here are absolutely worth hearing, the full complete albums, but this still is a very nice sampler. And so there you go. That's my review for the Bruce Springsteen Lost and Found album review. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. As I said, I did do a full review of the box set. If you want to know more about this and each of those individual albums that I talked about, I'm going to leave a link in the description. There's a full 30-minute breakdown, unboxing, and everything. I really get into the nitty-gritty of it all there. And hopefully you'll enjoy not only this video, but you've also enjoyed that one. But either way, let me know your thoughts on this Bruce Springsteen collection and or the box set. And I'd be curious to know your take on all this great music coming from the boss after the fact, but certainly proving that not only has he been a prolific writer, but that there's been so much great stuff left in the vaults. And regardless, I'm so glad that we're finally hearing it now, and certainly want to give a thanks to the Bruce for doing that. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.